the best place to get informed without getting depressed. We are very excited to have you with us today. We'll be talking about swans fighting cats, which apparently is reason enough in Australia for a public holiday. And also there's this 73-year-old man who just got his first job. Good for him. I'm your host Laura, and with us today we have Lucy and Miles. Thanks so much for coming. It's been 2.5 weeks since the AFL Grand Final, and as a European I'm still confused why Aussies get crazy about watching athletic blokes chase an oval ball around and kick it through massive poles. Anyway, in the final we saw the Geelong Cats fight the Sydney Swans, with the final score being 133-52 for the Cats. They seem to have been pretty happy about it. But as every sports fan knows, the score doesn't always reflect the actual game. So let's see what our panel has to say about the final. So Miles, as an Australian, I suppose you've followed the footy this season. What are your thoughts about the final?
Well, thanks for having me on, first of all, Laura. I really enjoyed it. I went to the game. There was about 100,024 people there, so the biggest crowd they've had there since, I think, 1986, so the biggest crowd. So great to have people back at the footy after COVID.
Absolutely.
And the game was a bit disappointing. It wasn't really a tight contest. Geelong just dominated from the outset, and you know, they didn't really provide much of a spectacle, but you know, it was a great day out. Robbie Williams performed and he absolutely nailed it, brought Delta Goodrum out and all that. So yeah, it was a really, really great day, I think, just to celebrate Melbourne being back at its best, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just watched it on TV, but I could tell the atmosphere must have been spectacular.
Stunning.
Yeah, so cool. And what do you think, what made Geelong be the better team in the end?
Well, Geelong, I think, sorry Lucy, I'll bring you in a second here, don't worry about it. Sydney and Geelong were the best two teams all year, apart from maybe Melbourne, and but Sydney are a very young side. They've got a lot of young players around the sort of 18 to 24-year-old mark, and they hadn't really played in a grand final before, and I think that kind of showed, whereas the Geelong side, which is a very old, very experienced, I think it was the oldest team ever to take the field in an AFL game, people calling them Dad's Army. They just, you know, had that experience and that nous to really get the job done, and quite emphatically so. Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. Amazing. Yeah, and what about you, Lucy? Have you followed the final?
My only experience with AFL would just be going to primary school here and just dressing up as a team that you like, but I only had like black and white clothes at the time when I was like little, so I chose Collingwood, which is, you know.
I like you, Lucy.
Oh, you're not Collingwood?
No, I'm wearing my, if we could get a tight shot on that, that's my St Kilda badge. St Kilda, which is, if you know, if you grow up in Melbourne, you kind of get, like religion, you kind of get born into a team, and you're going to get sort of, you know, brainwashed lovingly into a side.
Depends on your parents or like friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks so much for the insights. Yeah, that's interesting for people who grew up here. As you may know, the Geelong Cats have the highest average age of the AFL teams, and you know who also is old AF. Let me tell you, we are talking about someone who is quite a picky eater. He eats 7 boiled eggs a day and has very specific ideas about how his food should be served to him. Also, he is a passionate gardener and farmer and has a green thumb. This person even claims that he can communicate with plants. Why? It's King Charles, of course. The new monarch of Britain, King Charles III, has finally risen to the throne. That is because his mother cedes her incredibly long 70-year reign as Queen of England. Since Charles was born in 1948, he has been the longest-serving heir to the throne. Before being dubbed as the king. He will probably not bring the same head game to the table as his mother, but truly, who could? To get an idea of how Charles' new life looks like right now, here a little impression.
After the death of Queen Elizabeth, her son, the artist formerly known as Prince Charles, will be taking the reins. Here we see the new king entering St. James' Palace. King Charles takes a seat and prepares to make things official, finally getting his dream job at the age of 73. Welcome to the workforce, Charles. After a brief struggle with remembering how pens work, the new king signs the important official documents and accedes to the throne, becoming King of England. The king then made his way to the throne to receive his scepter and his crown, although it definitely seems that the crown has seen better days.
Where'd you get that footage? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we thought just make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Lucy, let's start with you. I hear you're not that interested in the royal family in Britain. How do you feel about this egg-eating 73-year-old of a gardener becoming a king?
Honestly, like to educate myself with this royal monarchy situation in Britain, I actually watched the Netflix show Crown, and I fell in love with their story, and I feel like it's part of their culture, and it's with all the Commonwealth countries around the world. They serve as a very important symbol for all their citizens and people. So with the late Queen passing, this King Charles rising to his throne, I feel like it's a moment that he's been waiting for a long time, and I do respect that, and I hope he'll do a good job as what the Queen did. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And Miles, do you think Australia will end up leaving the Commonwealth and becoming a republic?
I think it's a very tangled issue because we tried to become a republic in 1999. We had a referendum, but we couldn't really agree on what would replace the monarchy. So we couldn't really come up with a system. But I think now that, and a lot of the reason we did vote no as well was there was a lot of goodwill towards the Queen. She is still very popular in Australia. I don't know if King Charles has the same sway. So, and the other thing is that I think, you know, we are a very separate country to the UK now, and we have our culture really is differentiated by the Indigenous peoples of Australia. So, and I think given that we are moving towards a voice to Parliament, a lot of good things in this space, I think we might actually try and separate from the monarchy. So
yeah, cool. Thanks so much. And on that note, that's it from us today. Thank you all for tuning in, and thanks to our special guests for the great conversation.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So that has been What's Poppin', and see you next time.
You being pop cultured. I am your host Tess, and tonight we will be unpacking some of this year's most controversial moments in pop culture. From the Johnny Depp case and Amber Heard to the Will Smith famous clap at the Oscars, we will be covering it all. You've seen the memes, you've seen the TikToks, but what really went down? Is Will Smith's career really cancelled? Is Amber Heard still making an appeal? Stay tuned, we'll be discussing it next. But before we start, let's see what some people's favourite pop culture moments this year were.
Awesome. So what would you say is your favorite pop culture moment of this year?
Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's court case.
Britney Spears finally got her freedom back.
There's actually so many to choose from. It's been a wild year, 2022, but I would say the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case was pretty interesting. I was following it religiously, and I'm just so happy for Johnny to finally get his justice.
Oh, this gotta be Chris Rock and Will Smith. The slap, legendary.
Yeah.
It was intense, but I did not expect that.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks.
No worries.
I'm here with Ben Shu and Diana Versace to talk more about these moments. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
On the 31st of May, actors Johnny Depp and Amber Heard found each other in court, both suing for defamation. Depp sued for $50 million, and despite the jury ruling in Depp's favour, he was only awarded $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. The jury found Depp did defame Heard, but only on one count, so she was awarded $2 million in compensation. Some other fast facts about this case include the judge rejecting Heard's request for Depp to include a year's worth of anger management classes, and the fact that the reason the trial was in Virginia was because there was authorization by a judge to have it filmed. Tell me, what are our thoughts on this case? How do we feel? Do you think Johnny Depp was fairly awarded all his compensation, or do you think Amber Heard should have been considered more in the judge?
Man, I haven't really followed the case closely, but however, it's the whole story has been like a meme to me. The first thing came to mind when thinking about the Johnny Depp case is, well, you know the famous quote by Amber Heard, "My dog stepped on a bee." That was hilarious. But in terms of where the two parties are fairly, the judgment in the end was fair. I can't say. Like I think the media has made from the media that I've seen, Amber Heard has been portrayed as this villain, yeah.
Yes, I completely agree. I think TikTok has really taken it by storm, and I feel like everything on my For You page is just everything about the case, and it's really hard to know what's right and what's not. Do you think it was fair? Depp was dropped by Disney in the long-running film franchise Pirates of the Caribbean. Do we think that was a fair thing by Disney, or that could have been changed a little bit?
Well, I think it was a pity. I love the franchise. I mean,
I
Jack
agree.
Sparrow, he was great in that movie. But Disney is a business. They had to do what they needed to do. So
Still not fair.
Yeah, they definitely could have gone about it a different way.
yeah.
Agreed.
And I think they put the contract back together, so it's like a slap on their own face.
Couldn't agree more. Now, interestingly, there are reports saying that Disney sent an apology letter to Depp in addition to offering him for his return as Captain Jack Sparrow, but it has been confirmed Depp will not be returning to Disney. Moving on to Will Smith, March 27th was the day when the Oscars made news for not a very good reason. Will Smith was seen walking onto stage when comedian Chris Rock was presenting before slapping him across the face, leaving the audience and the rest of the world shook. Take a look at this clip.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow.
How do we feel about this controversial moment, guys?
Epic.
Yeah.
Just epic.
Disturbing.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing. It's the Oscars that happens every year. I think it was like the 94th one. And then it was almost like an act of violence they've put on live TV. So that came as a bit of a shock to both of you, I would say.
Definitely. And Will Smith won an Oscar that night, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
After, it was before or after? I think it was before or after, but still like...
No, it was after. And he went on stage and then he gave a speech about his slap.
Yeah.
And he didn't apologize then?
No, it didn't. It did take a while for that apology to come through. It has been said, though, since the slap, he has resigned from the Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts, which is one of the highest level acting academies there is. And others are saying he should be banned from the Oscars. What are your thoughts on that? Should he be banned from the Oscars?
That's fair. I mean, you just abused another entertainer and it wasn't in a comedian way. You should really, like, face the consequences.
That is very fair enough, and he did take a spotlight away from long individuals that night. The highly anticipated Bad Boys 4 is also among the many movies that were being put on hold after the event, with no continuation of when it is going to resume. Hopefully there'll be more updates on that one soon. Moving on, often our opinions of these events and many others are swayed heavily by the media, such popular platforms such as TikTok, Instagram and more. This leads us to the idea that social media can highly influence the way we believe things and sway our opinions or beliefs. Do we agree with those statements?
Yes, I think social media has a big impact on the world and what celebrities do, positive or negative.
You know, I would also agree with the, going back to the Johnny Depp case, I think a lot of my perception was just the TikToks, and there are videos of him walking in and people cheering, and I think it really clouds the judgment of what actually went down, which is really a shame for the truth was. Do you think that there are any other social media moments that have influenced pop culture?
I think social media in general, with all the big data and algorithms kicking in, it's enforcing people's, there's this term called confirmation bias, where you keep looking at, so
there's a lot of conception going around. I really
right.
agree with you there. And that's all we have time for this week on Have You Been Pop Cultured. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Welcome to DiverseCity. We are here every week to discuss different traditions from all around the world. Today's theme is something that is being celebrated in so many different ways all around the world. It is Christmas. Can you feel it coming? The happy, happy holidays. Yeah. And today we are really lucky to have two very special guests with us. First we have Emily from Denmark. Hello to you. And then we have Drew from Australia. Welcome to you guys. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
So let's dig in. First of all, are you excited for Christmas, Emily?
Yeah, I'm really excited for Christmas. I'm looking forward to spend time with my family and yeah.
Yeah, and what about you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for summer. The weather hopefully is nice. I mean, we've got La Nina, but you know, hopefully it'll still be, you know, like sunny and stuff. Excited for presents.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I could feel like summer in Christmas. Yeah, it's super different from Denmark.
It's very different.
Yeah, I can
was
imagine.
literally when you just said summer, it's like, no, winter.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, can you tell me about like what you normally do on the 24th of December, like from all the way from the morning to the evening? Let's start with you, Drew.
Well, probably for me, I'll probably wake up and stress about how I didn't get anybody presents because I'm so terrible at that.
Oh yeah.
But I work at Woolworths, so I probably have a full day of work over the 24th because it's one of the busiest days. So it's not that exciting, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm mainly just working, I'd say.
Oh, so you're working on the 24th?
Yeah, usually.
Okay, yeah. So no, like Christmas dinner?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, but presents?
Well, sometimes. I mean, I'm a bit old now, but you know,
Okay.
sometimes, you know, have a drink, you know.
The drink, is that with your family or is that with your friends?
Honestly, recently with my friends, because most of my family lives in Queensland or Japan, so yeah, it's not a massive family thing for me, but yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, how is that different from how your day is going, Emily?
So I think my Christmas is waking up in the morning, spending time with my family, probably watching a Christmas movie or something like that, and then we actually quite often go to church in the afternoon, and then we have a big Christmas meal in the evening. We dance around the Christmas tree, and then we open up presents. So, yeah.
Wow.
Full of traditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you eat on Christmas Eve?
We eat mostly roasted duck, and then like a crispy pork kind of thing, and then with potatoes and sauce and.
Yum.
Yeah. So what I hear from you guys is that you both have like two very lovely Christmas, but also like very different Christmases. Because Drew, you have summer, you have winter, probably hoping for a white Christmas.
Yeah.
But like, what is your favorite thing about Christmas if you have to choose? Let's start with you, Emily.
I think it's spending time with my family. That is probably what I enjoy the most about Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about you, Drew?
Yeah, I'd say kind of similar. I'd say seeing either my family sometimes or my friends. But yeah, I don't know. I love presents, so.
Oh yeah, that is also very good when you open up that special package.
I was not gonna say that on
I wasn't either, but it kind of
like
just came out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah. So is it? Do you think it's normal for like any Australian to have a Christmas tree?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think most people for sure would have a Christmas tree. We do. Ours is fake.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people that go out and get like real ones, even though, you know, it's like summer and like, I don't know. But yeah, most people have Christmas trees, I would say, and they like decorate it. And there's Christmas lights still.
Oh.
Yeah, I love, I didn't even mention that, but I love Christmas light, like looking around, driving around, seeing all the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah, do you have a lot of pretty Christmas lights here in Melbourne?
Yeah, I'd say maybe not as much as like maybe in America or maybe even Denmark, but there's definitely like some spots that you can drive to that are like really good. I can hook you up if you need for some spots.
That would be nice, because we have like a big, like electric bills are like raising so much in Denmark, so a lot of the Christmas lights are being cancelled. And how do you feel about that, Emily?
Yeah, I actually just wrote it or like read it on the news, and I was very like, wow, that's a big thing. Like I understand, but yeah, I think it takes a lot of the coziness out of it. But of course, they need to be think about the environment and stuff.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So now we've heard about your Christmases, and let's hear about what other students at RMIT has to say about Christmas.
Moved to Australia.
I'm from Melbourne, Australia.
I come from India.
To Denmark and European relations.
I'm from Australia. How do you celebrate Christmas?
We usually do like a lunch on Christmas Day.
Called Strays Christmas.
2-3 little Christmas trees. We go in each room, we put them, and then all of us decorate our own Christmas trees.
Celebrate the more getting together of people.
Computer games.
And a big thank you to our two guests. It was really interesting to hear what you guys do in the Christmas, and it sounds like it's very different, summer and winter. And I personally can't wait for Christmas now. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching DiverseCity, and I hope to see you again next week when we will be discussing yet another worldwide tradition.